Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Morley Live. It's Monday evening here in Brisbane, Australia. One day of the week down. 64 million to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, Shari. Hey, Heavy666. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. On the screen here, I've got a photo of myself at my very first, at my very first Pro Blogger. Hello! Which was a blogging conference that's pretty huge here in Australia. And this was back in August in 2012 when we had it in Melbourne. And it was all pretty daunting. My brain would have been throbbing with so much. Sorry, I jerked the cameras. I laughed. Hey, Leah. Welcome, my friend. So this was in Melbourne back in 2012. Back then, I actually was blogging under the Morley Report. Sorry. Hey, Paul. Thank you for joining in. Good evening, Leah, or LG, as I like to call you privately. Hey, Haylet8. Thank you so much for joining in. Okay, let's put me on. Oh, and that's not me. Let's try again, shall we? You nearly got out of having to see me. Let me just get this fixed. Goodness me. Mark wants to say hi too. Hello, Mark. You know I love you. You're my favourite out of everybody. How's that? Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, I wasn't going to actually do a Periscope tonight because I'm a little bit tired. We had a huge weekend down the coast. If you've been following I know, Shari, I know, but if you've been following me, I been away down the Gold Coast at the Royal Pines Resort for 3 nights for the Pro Blogger Conference this year. So this was my 4th one. And I had a wonderful, wonderful time, but I did pace myself because, let's face it, I'm old. And I know I'm going away tomorrow, can you believe it, for my work, for a team building. I'm going away with 26 men. It was amazing fun, United Teaching. We had a good time, didn't we? Hey, Amelia, thank you so much for joining in. So I wanted to talk tonight about the secret life of blogging. Now, as I said before, this is my 4th year that I went to Pro Blogger, and the first time I went, it was 2012 in August, and it's so much, people don't realise what's involved. But the biggest thing that I found intriguing, and to this day I still do, is that a lot of bloggers are actually introverts. And you'd be saying, well, Karen, you're not an introvert, but you'd actually be partly wrong. Hey, Pool Shark. Hey, Hula Beans. Thank you for joining. So we're just talking about the secret life of bloggers and things that maybe people don't realise about bloggers. So the biggest thing that I took away 4 years ago at my very first blogging conference was that there are a lot of introverted people that blog. And I guess when you think about it, people are at home, you can look crap, you're in your pyjamas. Sounds bliss, doesn't it? And I'd love to live my life like that every day. But you can talk to people through the internet, but I guess you're not seeing them face to face. Now, I would classify myself, believe it or not, as probably 50-50, a bit of a half-half. Because, hey, Nell and Doyle, thank you for joining. And hey, Norman Earls Jr., thank you. So we're talking about blogging and secret things that maybe people don't realise. And one was that people are introverted. A lot of people, not everybody, but some. And I guess I'm 50-50 because you find that it can be pretty daunting. This last one we just went to on the weekend was full of 700 bloggers. And I would say probably 696 were women and there were 4 men. So when the breaks are on, whilst it was great catching up with people, it was very, very loud, even for me. And I actually love my own space. I live by myself now that my son has moved out, so I'm an empty nester. And I blog over at thismorleylife.com. And so I'm a blogger too. But I love people. I love talking. Hey, Jen, welcome. I love hearing people's stories. I just think it's fascinating. I'm a people watcher, hey, and but I also love my own space. And work is quiet where I work. Home is quiet if I want it to be because I live here. So it was pretty full on. And even had to go have a nana nap one afternoon, but that's just because I probably hit it a bit big the night before. But it's such a wonderful community. Do you know, like, majority of people, I only found a couple of people. I was doing a few Scopes, if you caught it, over the weekend, and I guess people didn't know I was Scoping. They might have thought I was taking a photo or videoing because, as we all know, it's pretty new. And as people walked past, I had maybe one or two that didn't turn around when I went, hey, like, how are you going? And they just keep walking. And you get that everywhere, don't you? But I found that the community over the weekend was incredible. Do you know, a lot of people, a lot of love, a lot of laughter, a lot of supporting of each other, sharing knowledge. And bloggers, I guess, lead a bit of a lonely life because usually they're by themselves at the computer, typing away, bringing you all their information. Now, I've written down a few things so I don't forget. I personally think, though, can I just say this, and there may be some of you bloggers there, definitely sure it was the very best time, I have to say. There may be some bloggers listening right now and watching, and I would like to say to you, I think that you are more outgoing than you realise. And I saw people blossom over the last few days. And it's like any of us, when you first walk into a party, if you turn up by yourself, you feel like a bit of a loser. And it is hard until you find a couple of people to hang out with and you gain that confidence back. But there are a lot of people that they know what they're talking about. They specialise in very many things that they write about. And I'd just like to tell you, you're braver and you are more confident than you realise. And yes, there were a lot of goose people around on Saturday night on that dance floor at the Royal Pines. If you saw that Scope, I found it quite amusing because someone was saying, is it an all-girls club? And I couldn't talk on the Scope, right, because it's a nightclub and it was an 80s theme, so they're playing all 80s music. And I tell you what, as we know, on Periscope, Scopes last for 24 hours. So that one's down. But if you go over to Catch, KATCH.me, M-E, and then I think it might be / this Morley Live, you will bring up my account and you will see, poor children, every Scope I've done so far, most of them anyway. And that Scope from Saturday night at the nightclub was very funny because someone wrote in from overseas, is it an all-girls club? Someone thought we were at a bowling alley. Then I was surprised that they saw men there. Now, there were a couple of men that were there for the blogging, but it's a golfing resort. And there were a few drunken golf men on the dance floor, and I got them as well. Because, you know, all fares in love and war in the 1980s on the dance floor, I say. So it was a very fun night. And for anybody, you know, if you're ever contemplating coming along to a Pro Blogger conference, they happen every year, usually August. The last 3 years they've been on the Gold Coast. The first time I ever went, it was in Melbourne. And I guess later in the year, Darren from Pro Blogger will announce the next venue and the next location. And like Shari's just said there, just do it. Because I heard people say, you know, even if you don't blog, you should come along. Because it's so inspirational. You hear different people talk on different topics. Obviously, you know, blogging. But there's 2 topics happening usually at a time. So you can go from one room to another. The food is out of this world. And, it just felt like I was on a girls' Kentucky holiday for the over 40s. Let's put it that way. And I just had an absolute ball. But I wanted to say that sometimes, when if you're not a blogger and you read blogs and you follow a favourite blogger, we've all got them, I've got them too, they're not always the person you think they are. They're not always that confident person that they might appear in print. But it's just because they're like you and me. They're average, normal people. They're nothing that sets them aside. And the same as if you're a blogger and you come along and you meet other bloggers, we are all the same, right? Nobody's elite. Nobody's, below us. We're all equal. We're always learning. And I describe blogging, and I said this a few times over the weekend, like the Sydney Harbour Bridge here in Australia. Because when you blog, it's always evolving. And I think you can start at one end of the bridge. And when they paint the bridge here in Sydney, right, they start at one end. And by the time they get to the other end, they've got to start again. Like they're forever painting that bridge. It takes that long. And I think that's what blogging's like. I think you're forever learning new things. You're tweaking your website. You're learning new skills. Look at Periscope. New social media platforms arrive. We're always learning, no matter what level you're at or how many years you've been blogging. I've been blogging probably for about 4 or 5 years. I still got overwhelmed over the weekend, but I taught myself in the last couple of years, especially last year. My mum was really sick and with cancer, and she passed away just before Christmas, and I was a tough year, and I taught myself, and you can use this in your everyday life. It's like if you picture a bookshelf or a bookcase, right? And there's shoe boxes with lids on them. There's no shoes in the boxes, just so you know. So there's all these shoe boxes with lids. And you take one box down at a time. So you remove one box in your head, you remove the lid, and you deal with what's in that box. And when you've dealt with what is in that box, you put the lid back on and you put it back in the shelf. And you do baby steps and you do one shoebox at a time. And that's how you get through life. And that's how you get through not being overwhelmed. If you can help it. It's not easy, but that's what I have taken away from the last couple of years in my life. And that is to just, if I sat here and thought about all the crap in my life, all the bills I have to pay, I thought about all the blogging information I got over the weekend, I'd be hanging from the rafters. It's lots that we deal with in life, whether you blog or not. So I think you've just got to take baby steps and take it each step at a time. And even if you make a list for a week and have one goal per week or per day and have it in the shoebox with the lid, right? And when you finish with that shoebox in your brain, you put it back on the shelf and that lid goes on tightly, my friends. Right? There's no hanging off and bits are still hanging out of that job. It's back on, it's in there, you forget it, and you move on to the next thing you've got to deal with. And that's how I get through. So whilst a couple of times I found it overwhelming on the weekend at Pro Blogger, I also took away lots of great information. I had a wonderful roommate and my friend Carolyn, and we would debrief as you do every night, laying in bed, and that's probably why I'm tired, because we stay up talking every night. And then you just chisel away and do bit by bit. Let me show you this. Actually, I'm just going to turn the camera on so you can see, right? Here we go. I have 1 billion trillion cards that I have to get through of all people that I want to check out. And I'm so excited to be doing that. But you've got to do one step at a time. So tonight, I'm going to show you how sad and organised I am, right? Tonight, that tray was full. It was full of crap that I didn't want to do. And it's been sitting there for ages. And tonight I went through and I got myself sorted in that respect. I've made a pile of these business cards that probably later in the week I'll have to go through. And it's one bit at a time. That's just how I do it. I think if you attended Pro Blogger that you have to do it all in the next 24 hours because that's impossible. Impossible. And I want you to take baby steps, use those shoe boxes, you may borrow mine if you want, and put them in your shelf, okay? Because that's how you're going to get through. Now, the other thing I found was, obviously, you can't always take a friend. Thank you, Shari. You can't always take a friend with you to a conference or a blogging conference. And what we did on the Thursday night was I was already going to dinner with a small group of my friends, and I noticed on the big event page on Facebook that a lot of people were going by themselves and didn't really have, anyone to have dinner with because it didn't really start until Friday. And so I actually created an event and it ended up being 40 of us, which, out of 700 short, but it was still 40 people, and we got to have a dinner and have proper conversation that where we could talk to each other. We could exchange business cards. And then what that meant was over the next few days, when we were walking around, you would recognise a familiar face. And my friend Carolyn, that I shared the room with, whilst we weren't always together because she's new to blogging as such and would go to different things to me, the fact that she knew that there was someone there that, oh, thank you, Jen. Because look, we all know, I get nervous too. It may not look like it, but I'm telling you, I do. And when I was at school and I used to do speech and drama, I only went to grade 10, and I would do, thank you, Shari, I would do speech and drama and I'd be absolutely shitting myself, nearly throwing up, right? And I would do whatever it is you had to do in front of the class. And then people would go, oh, wow, like, how, were you not nervous? I'm like, nervous? Are you serious? Like, it's just about to throw up in the bin. So sometimes I cover it up, but it's there. And we all feel nervous, and I just think sometimes just knowing that there's someone there, a familiar face, is great too. Do you know, even if it's one or two people. And every year you go, the people that went this year, you'll make new friends next year, but you'll see people that you recognised from the year before. And as the years go by, it's like a school reunion of some sort, you know. It was actually really good. Thank you, Barzia. So and the other thing I wanted to explain, another part of the secret life of bloggers is, you know, we make so many friendships online, even if you're not a blogger. Do you know, I've been doing this online probably from about 2005. Before some people did Facebook, I did MySpace, and I made friends. I still have friends, really good friends to this day that I have never met, that live overseas, that I've met via the internet. Be it on a message board for a singer that I might have liked, be it on just a friend of a friend, do you know there's a one guy that I am really good friends with, him and his wife, and the reason that we became friends was many years ago. I don't even know how I come across it, but on MySpace I came across his profile, and it was the 1 year anniversary of his first wife passing away, and I read this beautiful, beautiful letter that he wrote to her that made me so sad, and I wrote a comment, and from that I'm friends with him and his new wife. They've been married a few years now, and so you can make some wonderful friendships online, and a lot of bloggers will have amazing friendships online and maybe never get to meet. I saw on the weekend, someone that's quite popular here as a blogger in Australia meet up with a lady that was here from India, and they were for the blogging conference, and they had been friends online for quite some time, and it was the first time they had met. And it's so strange because these people that you just know them from talking to them, or do you know, it's the same if you comment. You know, if you gave me a comment here on Periscope and I get to know you that way, you make friends. The same with my blog, on my Facebook page, if you sent an email. It's unusual the way that friendships are made. So if you're thinking of blogging, do you know, it's a wonderful way to meet new people. Sure, you get a few, hey, Chocolate Johnny. And here's an example here. Now, here's Chocolate Johnny. Now, I've not met him in person, and I've listened to some of his scrapes. He's very hard to get onto to talk. But what I love is that you make these amazing friendships online. G'day, Johnny. And it's just this amazing feeling to know that you've made these friends, that when one day, if you get to meet them, it's like you've known them forever and you've hung out with them all the time, you know? We are Perry mates. Very good. I love it. And so, Johnny, I was just talking about the secret life of bloggers and how I went on the weekend to that Pro Blogger conference, and how the first thing I took away from it years ago, the first one I went to, is that a lot of people are introverted that blog, which I find extremely strange. But I guess the more you think about it, the more that's true, because they're at home, they're in front of their computer. They're still being true to who they are, but I guess they're not being surrounded by a lot of people. So when they go to these blogging conferences, they get a bit anxious and it is a bit overwhelming. Do you know, can I tell you something, Johnny? May I call you Johnny? Should I call you Mr. Chocolate? I don't classify myself as a writer. I write how I talk. So I've had people say to me when they read my blogs, they hear my voice. Oh, thank you. They hear my voice, poor people, but they actually hear me talk because it would be just like now as I'm talking to you, and that's how I write. So, Johnny, I think anybody's capable of writing. If I can, anybody can. And you'd be surprised that you'd have a number of stories that people would love to hear that's happened in your life. I'm not talking to Johnny now, I'm talking to everybody. Do you know, we can all learn from each other. So whilst I like to joke and have fun and laugh and share my holiday deals and travel tips and, you know, show my adventures, I also like to share serious things. Thank you for sharing, Johnny. I also like to share serious things because I think we can all learn from it. And I spoke earlier about how my mum passed away last year from cancer. Do you know, and we're not going to go into all that right now, but there's things that we don't talk about that I've experienced that maybe you haven't, and vice versa, and we can all learn from each other. And I just believe that knowledge is power. Do you know? And so we can all learn, and maybe I've been through something that you haven't yet, like I'm an empty nester. My son's moved out of home a few times with his job. I love to travel, and I don't have a lot of money, but I always look for a good deal. And now I'm selling good deals on thismorleylife.com because I believe in making time for you. Because if you don't make time for you, then you're no good for anybody else. Okay? So it's all about having fun in your life, having laughter and enjoying things and nurturing yourself, because it's crazy, you know, we just give to everybody else, but not us. So never feel guilty for wanting to spend time on you, okay? Speaking of that, I have something to share with you. You're going to love it. Hang on. So, nurturing. I do love me a good day spa. And yesterday when I was down at the Royal Pines at the end of the conference, we booked in for massages. Hi, Duke's in Perth. Okay. And we actually got a free thing that we didn't know about because we went to the conference. So we went back yesterday and my friend and I, you need to see that scope on catch.me/thismorleylife. We had a shower together, but not the way you think. So we wore clothes but we went into this like steam room with the shower. But what I wanted to show you was, now I can tell you that these aren't used, okay? This here, look, first of all, I think it looks like a little swimming costume, don't you? Like it's like a little one piece. This actually is a pair of pants. Look, oh, disposable pants that it probably fit a 2-year-old. And that's what they give you to wear. There's that. But of course, you know, you may not be into that kind of underwear. And check out this beauty. That's the back, just so you know. So that's the front. Imagine if you thought that was for your bottom and that was for your front. I don't think it'd be covering up much, do you? So yes, we had a big laugh about these pants. They are panties. No, I'm not putting it on. Maybe I could put it on my head. Wear it like a hat, maybe, or something. But yes, so when you go to a day spa, they're the kind of freaky things that I guess if you were going to have to, hello right in the middle, how are you? So, and you know, some people on the scope have probably worn this kind of weirdness. But I can tell you that my friend Carolyn and I did not. But when I opened this one tonight, I thought, oh, maybe they're not pants. Like, what are they? But yeah, they are. They're just cover you up a bit more. So there you go. See the things you learn on here. And that's probably about it for tonight. Yeah, I'm still recovering too. Now, has anyone got any questions? I'd love if you've got any questions on blogging. Anything at all. And do not feel that it's silly, because I am a big question person. So you might be thinking of starting a blog and don't know where to start. You might have been blogging for a few years and there's been something you've been wanting to ask someone but you feel stupid. Hit me with it, sister. Should I blog on the website? Yeah, you should. So you know what you should do? You should have a website. You need to, if you have not looked at buying a domain name called chocolatejohnny.com, you need to start there. I would go to GoDaddy and I'd buy one for 12 months, right? Just for the moment, because then you can just renew it later for longer. And then I would get you need to blog on what's called WordPress. And you can buy templates, but I don't know, because you're a business, you might want to look at getting one designed. And you'd be calling it Chocolate Johnny. Good boy. Well done. So you'd be having that, right? And then you'd be having an online store. And on your tab buttons, you'd probably have About Me. And then you'd have your online store. And then you'd have blog. And then you'd have Work with Me. Because you might find that people want to have you talk, be a speaker at events like we've just had at Pride Blogger. You may find that next year, once Periscope's been going for a while, you might be able to go to a blogging conference and talk about Periscope and how it works and how it's worked within your business. And then what you can do is link everything. So I actually, when I post something on Instagram, what do you think of blog linkies? Asking me to help them. Yeah, well, and this is the thing. You can give out so much information that I mean, if you're not used to blogging, I mean, you could have a page on your website called Questions and Answers and put some of the questions that people ask you and then answer it, so that, like, where are you? And how do I buy you? Do you ship to America? Like that kind of thing. Linky parties. I guess you could. I just think, what I think? That bloggers should support each other. So if I saw a blogging friend write something, I would like it. Because the more likes you get, the more it appears in someone's newsfeed. The more, if someone sees, I've liked it, my friends might go, oh, what's she checking out? And then they like it. So I think we should help each other one-on-one. I think I have my Instagram linked to my Facebook page, so that when I post on one, it goes to the other. I'm just getting into Twitter properly now because, I found it more of a network businessing thing, where on Facebook it was more personal people that were fans and wanting to read. The Periscope thing, if you're not on Periscope, you're crazy. It is going to be huge. And right now, a lot of the big bloggers aren't even doing it. And you may find they won't do it. And so I think that, even if you get on, I heard Chris Ducker, who I follow here on Periscope and love his scopes, has a lot of great advice. He was saying, you just need to get on and do it. I listened to one today from Shalene. Shalene, oh goodness, what's Shalene's surname? That's exactly right. Like, Periscope is the place to be, I think. And, I heard someone talk the other day, if you were a restaurant, Johnson, that's it, thank you. Shalene Johnson was saying, get on 1 minute a day and do a scope. If you haven't done a scope yet, do a private scope with a friend. You can hit the button, do I know any jokes? Why was the Irishman on the roof? He heard the drinks were on the house. Boom, boom. I've got another one. Why did the Irish hitchhiker get up early? He wanted to beat the traffic. Okay, that's it. No more. Because that's all I know. But let me think. What else can I tell you about blogging? I started off on Blogspot. Do not do that. Because you don't own it, Blogspot do. You want to go onto WordPress. I think it's wordpress.org that everybody says you should do it on. So you need to start there, because then you own the domain name and you own the website, okay? And you need to share on social media. There's a new tool that I haven't started using yet, but I'm thinking of, called Meet Edgar. You have to have a few blog posts up your sleeve. But what happens is it will repurpose your blog posts so you can put them under categories, and then when you haven't got something happening, it'll chuck something out there for you, like your live on social media, but it knows when it used that last one to the one before. WordPress, exactly right. WordPress is where you want to go. And Johnny, I think, you need to get on that bandwagon straight away. Do you know, people would really find your blogs fascinating, I think. And the other thing is, do you YouTube? I'm starting to try and remember to put these clips from Periscope onto a YouTube channel. Because, Facebook is changing things so much. It's changing it. You have to pay. Back in the day, if you liked a page, you saw it. Not anymore. You're self-hosted. Exactly right, yeah. And I think that's the way to go. So that it's all you and you own it. But it's baby steps, one step at a time. But, they say, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? Do you know, in the beginning, unless you're Chocolate Johnny and you're popular. No, of course not. No, you can't. No. So this is the other thing they say, right? Sure, talk about chocolate. But people, you got to make it personable. So it's not just about my shop. Here's my shop and I sell this. And I'm just going to talk about this all the time and push it and push it and push it. I'm going to show pictures of me at home, me doing something silly, and then I'm going to talk about this. And then I'm going to do this, that. Oh, hello, I'm talking about this. So you kind of mix it up a bit. So people get to know you. I think being on Periscope, coming from that first, people would already feel like they know you because they've been talking to you. But if you're blogging for business and you're blogging to sell a product, then you need to make it more personable at times as well. Because you're building a community, you're wanting to reply to their comments. And I think you'd be really good at that, Johnny, because if you reply to their comments, then that means that post, it's the Facebook, what's the word? The Facebook algorithms, God, we hate those, which they change every second day. It'll notice that, hang on, there's more people commenting, you're writing back, they're writing back, and it would appear more higher up in somebody's newsfeed. So just because I like you, oh, have you? There you go. There you go. You already got a fan, Johnny. Because if I like your page but I don't comment, so you say I have Perfection Chocolate's blog on the business website. Yeah, I still think you got to put something on a Chocolate Johnny because everybody knows the words. Excuse me, Chocolate Johnny. They don't think about the name of your company. I reckon if you did a survey and you asked your followers here, let's say, do you know the name of my, unless it's in your thing, yeah. Do you know, I would still call yourself Chocolate Johnny. And then I would have under the tabs, on the tab line, home, contact me, work with me, about me, online shop. And then I would be selling under the banner of Chocolate Johnny. I'd still keep your other, they could link Perfection Chocolates as to one of the tabs. No, that's okay. Look, that's just the bit that I know. But you'd be surprised, you don't realise how much you pick up over so many years. But I just think that, you'd be killing it, Well, that's right. You could. It's thank you. That's a long name, and I don't think you want it too long, because if you start saying to people, like say now you're on Periscope and you're saying, I want you to follow me, and you've written like Chris Ducker does, chrisducker.com, but Johnny's is blah 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 blah. We're not going to remember all those words. I believe so. In my opinion, that will rock. And don't have .au. They said that on ProBlogger over the weekend. It's better to have it as .com. And, the About page, you'd have a picture of you. I'd love to know your history. How did you get into chocolates? Yes, I understand. And why would I want to come to your page? That's the first thing you're talking about. I'm going to come to your page because I love chocolate. And this chocolate is going to change my life. And you'd be writing... And you need to write as you talk, because you talk really well and explain your product really well. So I would, jig some of that. Get someone to help you if you think. Exactly right, because very good advice. A good friend of mine, Kat, the organised housewife, she actually had a thing, Johnny, and it was on a current affair about a year or two ago. People will buy names that sound similar to yours, and then they redirect them to their website, and then it looks similar to the one that you're trying to find. You don't realise you're on someone else's. So her advice is to always buy up all the domain names. So you'd buy .com.au, .net, .org, all that kind of thing. Because what they do then is they will sell it to you, but for a lot more money than you'd pay for it now if it was $10. So that's another thing. And in your case, you know, in my opinion, you're on a gold mine and people would be thinking that already. So the fact that you already own your own .com, but if you go onto wherever you bought it from, like be it GoDaddy as an example, you'll see all the other ones, you know, that come under that name. Deetsy, I love the way you work. Good boy. Well done. See, you got it going on, sister. But yeah, and so, you know, like you'd have your about me page and you'd be talking all about the history. You might have a photo of what the shop looked like when it first started. And then depending on your family, I know your wife doesn't like to be seen, but you might have a bit of a family shot or just something. You know, you with the hat on or something to make it more personable. So I think that would be a great about page, you know, and then the work with me page. You might find someone wants, I mean, obviously not another chocolate store, but you might find that, I don't know, say Channel 9 had a new travel show and they wanted to maybe look at working with you. And so here's your page, work with me, and you've got your how to contact you and what experience you've had or not, or who you've worked with. Oh, good on you. I'm glad I've inspired you. Boom, boom. Inspired you. I'm still getting over Pro Blogger Johnny. Bear with me. It's even amazing I'm awake right now, let me tell you. But, yes, but look, anybody at any time, if you've got any questions, I am here to help. And if I don't know, I can point you in the right direction to ask the correct people. I blog over at thismorleylife.com. I believe in looking after yourself. I believe in holidays, my friends, and making time to look after yourself and have those holiday breaks. And I sell some really great deals myself, some travel deals over on thismorleylife.com. So if I can ever help you, hit me up on Twitter, on my Facebook page, on my website, because I'm here to help you. And kids, I think we're done. Thank you for the love hearts and thank you for sticking in, everyone. And thank you, my friend Johnny. Where would you suggest someone who really wants to get into an online but doesn't know where to start? Okay. So you've got to think about no, I understood it. Don't worry. I'm there with you. You've got to think about a name. All right? Brain deal, swipe chocolate for advice. Deal. Oh, I like it. You could have that as a thing to push on, you know what I mean? Like a click on box where you click on it and, you know, ask Uncle Johnny or something like that. I don't know. Like a Dear Abby. Where do you start? You've got to brainwave your name. Brainwave. Far out. I need to go to bed. Sorry. Need to think about a name, right? Now, and like I said before, you've got to start somewhere. The more you put it off, the more you won't do it. And I started out as the Morley Report.com because it was all about, thank you, brainstorm is a good word. Oh my God. Because I would send an email to all my friends a few times a year about my life, my son, Jake, who I still call baby Jake, even though he's 25, our animals. There's always some crappy story going down. I would write this email a few times a year and call it the Morley Report. And that's okay. Big kisses to you, Johnny. Thank you for tuning in and let me know if you need anything, okay? And I changed that last year, and if you'd ever said to me I would have changed that domain name, I would never have believed you. But someone said to me that the Morley Report sounds like a financial report. And if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know what it's about. So it took me a long time to try and think of another name. And about this time last year, I rebranded to This Morley Life. Because I'd like to think if you heard that, it would mean, it must be about her life or his life or their life, whatever. So you need to think of a great name now. Then you need to go on to something like GoDaddy on the website where you buy domain names. And you need to search to make sure it's available and that it doesn't cost a fortune. Because I would love to be karamorley.com, but she is $1,000 right now and I'm not buying her at that price. So hence I am thismorleylife.com. So if your name's available, I would even suggest you buy your name.com and have it under that. Do you know? Because you may start at this and you may have 3 other things and create a business called nothing like this first blog. up to you. But at the moment, like I have this morleylife.com. And then once that's available, maybe just before you purchase it, thank you. Just before you purchase it, you need to, okay, darling, see, thank you for joining and for your help with those words. You need to go on all social media accounts and check out that it's available. Yes, I did buy from GoDaddy, and actually mine's up for renewal as we speak. And, don't go gung-ho, because there's lots of things that cost, like, buy a year. A 12-month subscription might be $10 for your name. And then what you want to do, go on Facebook, and is this Morley Life available as a Facebook page? And if it is, grab it. No one's going to see it yet until you start pushing it out there, right? But grab it and create it under your own personal account on Facebook. Go to Twitter, do the same thing. Go to Instagram, do the same thing. Go to Pinterest, do the same thing. And come here on Periscope and do exactly the same thing. Because if you buy that domain name and then you go to those other social media platforms and someone else has got it, your domain name means nothing, right? So I would start with that. And I was talking earlier about shoe boxes on a shelf with lids. So tonight, in the next 24 hours, your homework will be, in your mind, there's a bookshelf with this shoebox, take the lid off it, bring it down, and what's in that shoebox is domain names. So you're going to go on GoDaddy and see if it's available, and you're going to go on all the social media platforms. It will not take you long, but of course you've got to come up with the name first, so sorry about that. But yeah, do the name, ask friends, put it on your Facebook page. So I'm thinking about doing this. You know me really well. What names could you suggest? And you might be surprised. Someone might come up with something, the very first website, well, I did it on Blogspot, and they had a template thing, so I could just do it myself. But when I went to WordPress, a friend of my son's actually did it for me, I'll be honest. I wasn't not that way inclined. But last year when I moved over to this Morley Life, you can buy templates on different companies. So if you searched WordPress website template, you'll find some companies. I think mine might have cost me like $100 or something like that. And then I had a company that I was using at the time, a very good company, and my friend Dan runs it, called WP Curve. And WP Curve, back then it's gone up a little bit now. It was about $50 a month. I think now it's about $80 or $90 a month. And you pay that once a month, but you can give them unlimited jobs as long as they're 30-minute jobs. And what they did for me was slowly bring that website template, the new one, into working instead of my old one. And I was really sad letting that old one go, because the Morley Report had been around for years with my email and everything. But that's what happens, and you evolve, and you've just got to start. Like as I said earlier, what is the worst thing that can happen? Nothing. Just do it. And what was the website? What was that website? My old website, do you mean? And so I don't know your first name. It was called WP Curve. So WP as in the letter WP, space, Curve, Curve. Vanessa, hello Vanessa, nice to meet you. So yeah, so Dan is the man. He is based on the Gold Coast, but he is in partnership with a guy in America, and they have lots of people that work for them, and it's 24/7 service. And, you're already on the Gold Coast. That's where we were on the weekend for Pro Blogger Conference. So, yeah, and look, I found them wonderful, and at the moment I just can't afford it, or I'd be still using them, don't you worry, because there's some I can do and some that I can't. Yeah. Well, do you know, I need to probably look up, I cannot think of the company I bought my template from. And get this, so I bought it for like $100. Once you use them once for something, if I go back in now and go, say I wanted to buy that template again for some reason, it's like half price. So they're actually pretty good. Look, can I hugely recommend Pro Blogger? There was probably 3/4 of people there that were new. Some hadn't even started a blog. But what you want to do is between now and then, you want to do these things and just slowly get there, you know. And that's where I'd suggest to start. So let's go with that shoebox. Work out your name. And then in the shoebox for tonight, do you check GoDaddy. Even at the moment, just think of whatever name. Just go in there and have a look and see what I'm talking about. And it'll show you can buy it .com, .org, you know, all the different ones. Just go .com for the moment because you're just starting, right? And then go into your social media platforms and see if it's there. And then just start with that. So at least you got that and you've made a start on it. I need the something. Yeah, I know. Jen, it can be. No, that's okay. Anytime. And like I said, if I can help you, just let me know. Okay, come over to the Facebook page if you want and like that, This Morley Life. Or if you've liked and followed me here, if I can help with anything. And anyone else that's on there, if there's anything that I can help answer with you with blogging or holidays, just hit me up. I do not mind at all. I'm here to help. Jen, you know, I suggest that you... I will find, how about this? I will find the name of the company that I bought my template from, and I will go share that overnight on my Facebook page, thismorleylife.com. On Facebook, This Morley Life. So if you go and like that and go check that out, I'll put the link on, you can see. So Jen, for you, you'd need to find one that also supports a shop, obviously, because people are buying products. And... yeah, and have a look and see. But if you just Google WordPress website template, you might find a couple of companies there that you know, just look at the different designs, and I guess you could just go with your gut of what does it for you that feels good. So. All right, my friends, I am fading fast, and this went way longer than I thought, but I am glad. No, that's okay. I am glad that I can help because, mate, like I said, if I can pass it forward, I'm passing it forward. And one day, if I need help, then you can help me and answer one of my questions because don't worry, I always have lots of questions. So thank you so much for tuning in. For the replay people, thank you. I appreciate it immensely. Good night. Mwah, to you, my friend. And I will see you next time. I will have a good night. I'm about to go to bed. I'm tired. And I don't know if you caught before, but I'm actually going away tomorrow with 26 men and 4 women for work for 2 nights. So you will see me next time. I don't know when in the next few days, but I am going to be secretly scoping because it's work and I've got to be careful. But I want to show you where I'm staying because it's a little bit different, but a bit nice. And it's beautiful weather here at the moment. In Brisbane, Australia, and we're going to be staying at the beach where there's a surf beach. So I want to share that with you too. So, all right, kids, be good. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.